Now I'm really quite excited to show you this next bit because what I'm wanting to look at here is the ease of how quickly and easily we can get get content into Moodle and into our course page. And when I talk about the ease, I'm literally talking drag and drop. So when you come to wanting to put a photo on your main page, wanting to get that PDF file into your main page so that the users can download it as a resource, we can literally drag and drop onto the main page of our course to quickly and easily bring content in. So one of the examples that I'd like to do here is that I want to get rid of the word general here. I've got a photo on my system that I actually want to, that says welcome on it, and I want to bring that in. So instead of it saying general, I want it to say welcome on the front of this page here. So I'm going to trick Moodle basically, because we can't delete these section headings as such, but we can definitely trick Moodle. So what I want to do here is click on the little pencil icon, and I'm just going to press the space bar and then press enter. So suddenly we basically blanked out that heading and it no longer exists. So we've got rid of the general. Now what I'd like to do is bring my photo that says welcome in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my Finder window here, and I'm going to say that I want to bring in my welcome text. So here we go here. I've got my welcome text. I'm literally going to drag and drop it over the page. And what you'll see here is it says add files here. It'll always pop up at the bottom of the section you're hovering over, and then let go. Now, because it is an image, Moodle has identified that and recognized it, and it now gives me two options. Either the first being that I can add the media to the course page, meaning that the photo will display as an actual image on my course page. Or secondly, we could have it that we want to create the file, a resource file. So basically, the image will be there, but it's now just one line. It will prompt the user to click on it and download the photo to their computer before they can use it and actually make use of it. So in my case, I actually want it to display on the course page. So I'm going to leave the option that's set, and I'll say upload. And what you'll see here is that my welcome has now popped straight up on my page, and I can actually now see it there. So it's a way to start thinking outside of the box so that maybe you don't like the way the headings are presented in Moodle. Maybe you want to make your own images and bring your own headings in. Well, this is a perfect way to be able to do it. So now I've blanked out the heading that said general, and I brought in my own heading that said welcome. Now this drag and drop sort of functionality, it doesn't just stop here with photos. So once again, I can open up my file explorer here. And why don't I bring in, I'm going to bring in a PNG, I'll bring in another JPEG, I'll bring in an Excel file, I'll bring in a PDF, maybe I'll bring in a couple of PDFs. And so I'm going to click, hold, and drag on multiple files. Click, hold, and drag. The same add files here appears. Let go. And in this case, I'm just going to make sure everything is set to create a file resource instead. So all the items are file resources. And this is what they look like. So now I have my welcome heading, and then I have all these individual resources that I potentially could click on and download or view, whatever I might want to do. Now I still have all the same options. I've got the crosshair so I can rearrange them, the pencil to rename them. I still have the edit menu so I can hide them, duplicate them, delete them, do whatever I need to. So all that normal functionality is there. Now I can also combine into this a couple of headings. So I could bring in a label, maybe a label activity that maybe I insert between the welcome heading and the first file. And that label might just explain the uses for the files below and what I'm expecting my users to actually do with those particular files. But one thing whilst I am actually here though, is when it comes to this photo here, if I was to edit and then edit the settings of that particular photo, what is amazing is that you will look at and you will see that it is actually a label again. So yet again, there's another use for this amazing little label activity that you don't really sort of think of all that much. Now, if you didn't want to use the drag and drop and you wanted to bring in a photo, you wanted to create a label and then bring a photo into a label itself, we can use the Moodle Photos icon there, so for images, and that would enable us to insert this image into the label that way. So if you use the drag and drop, it'll happen automatically. If you wanted to create it manually, you could go in here and use the Moodle image bar. The one beside is the Moodle Media button, and that would be if I wanted to insert a video or an audio file. So I didn't want to drag and drop it, I actually wanted to insert it into the label. But same again, we could do that through the label activity. So hopefully you're sort of starting to see now that it's got quite a lot of uses and quite a lot of things that we can do with it. Now, whilst we're talking about files, just one last thing I wanted to touch on was that potentially with files, if I'm wanting to share maybe 20 or 30 resources with my students, potentially you could end up with quite a long list. And that might be quite a long list that users have to scroll through. It might also mean that if there's 20 or 30 files, I have to download each one of these individually. So I've now got to go and 20 or 30 times repeat the process of downloading the file, finding a location on my computer, clicking save, and then moving on to the next one. So what Moodle does have in my add an activity or resource pool here is one resource called a folder resource. And it reacts exactly the same as what you would expect, and it allows you to bundle up all your resources into one folder. So this folder might say, this might just say what might I say? I might say our company's documents. All right, so that's the name of the folder. And then in here, we want to insert all the files. So again, I'm just going to go back in here and I might drag the same couple of files plus a couple of extras in there. And in one hit, I'm going to drag and drop them all into that drag and drop window. So the typical and the normal Moodle file picker. They all load. I can add extras later on. I can delete some if I want, just simply by using those same principles that we've learnt before. Now I'm saying that I want to display the content on a separate page. So it means that this folder is only going to take up one line of text on my home page, meaning suddenly what was 20 or 30 or 40 lines is now only one line in size. So as far as reducing the scroll on my home page, I've made a significant difference in that. I also have the option to tick the Show Download Folder button, which basically means that users can choose and opt to either download the files one by one, or they can download the whole entire folder. And what happens here is that when I click download the folder, it will zip the file up and it will save it then on that user's computer, and they can then choose to unzip it and work with the files then. So it bundles it all up in one hit and provides it all to them really quickly and really easily. So as you can see here, this is now my folder. So instead of having all these lines of text for them to download, all these files, they now have the one folder. When they click on the folder, it will open up a new page, and this is where they will see all the files. They have the ability to click on each file individually and download or preview if they want, or they can click the download folder button. And as I said, that will download a zip file with all the files to their computer. So it's a really, really great way to manage. There's no right or wrong again with this. It is basically just what is going to work for you and what is going to work best for how you want to provide that information to those users.